This choreographic experiment really begins with my playing the character Ife Morena and her concentration as she's trying to learn the castanets. Um, this is a concentration that's stemming from really her grandmother's will. Her grandmother's represented by the chair and the shawl on the chair. And she's very exacting, asking her to use every single finger until Ife Morena kind of almost stutters with it and starts again. But as she starts again, then she starts to find her own way of doing what her grandmother is asking her. And we see her take her first lunge into space, really carving the space. We see the change in the light, representing the daylight coming, and the idea that she's starting to really find her own voice in this dance. One of the inspirations for this piece and the relationship between Ife Morena and her grandmother is Balanchine, actually, and his relationship with his dancers. His push in Balanchine's classroom is very much a part of this. I decided to change pace a little bit and also focus on using the ground, focus on moving through space. Ife Morena runs away from the lessons with her grandmother into the forest where she follows her father, who's one of the Ñáñigos. The Ñáñigos were part of a sacred society in Cuba of black men who were often masons, and they would meet secretly. And she follows them and starts to learn their trade. One of the most interesting parts of this is seeing how the movement really becomes the character, her energy, her desire to go. That's why she moves and stops. And when she stops, we see her start to pace back and forth. And that pacing, the movement back and forth, her skirt blowing in the wind against her body is really, I would call it a somatic reasoning, where she's starting to really come to terms with how to use nature to gain her power. Now back in the space with her grandmother. We don't see her grandmother anymore. And I'm trying to represent here a different phase in Ife Morena's life, where she's now in Africa, and all she has of her grandmother really are the memories. As you can see, her dancing is now closer to the earth. Although she's dancing on her toes, she doesn't have her shoes on, and the movement is more inside her. We still see the strong port de bras and the Spanish feeling, the grace in the upper body, but it's curving now. And we start to see her loosen her spine. I like to see a little bit more as we move on, a little bit more ripple of the spine, as in Jan Valu. I took a moment to film in the car because I wanted to also represent a shift in time and space, and the nebulousness of that, how dance can take you from one energetic path to another. And that's represented in the change in space, the change in time, moving into the realm of the ancestors. And as I've been saying, I want to use the flamenco as a form of divination. Divination is a form of getting to know what is in store for you. What is your future? What are your plans? And what do the gods or the forces of nature have to say to you about what's going on? That's represented very much in the handwork as Ife Morena starts to really curve her hands and use that inner energy. It's as if that journey outdoors, using the feet on the ground, really pacing, not being as structured as in the beginning, is giving her that will to move on. And now, as I move around in this space, this is more, I would say, Aoife Morena deciding that she can embody her grandmother's energy and taking off the scarf and using it now like a cape and doing some experiments, seeing how it would flow around her body as a bullfighter might do, moving it through space, moving it overhead, moving it around, circling around her body to really find the energy that is needed to come to a catharsis. And the catharsis is one of possession, it's one of transformation, and it's one of healing. So that's why she eventually puts the scarf back on her head, symbolizing a return to Africa completely.